We're here with Julie Murphy, the author of Dumplin. We're so excited to have you, so thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So briefly, Dumplin is a story of a small town girl who lives in Texas. Her mother was a beauty pageant winner, and now she's entering into this town's beauty pageant.
Right.
So where did this concept come from?
Well, okay. From a very young age, I was obsessed with this movie called Drop Dead Gorgeous. If you haven't seen it, you should totally see it. So I think that was like my first obsession with beauty pageants. And then I spent much of my adolescence in Texas, and so I went to school with lots of girls who entered beauty pageants, and I never quite understood it. Like, I always thought they were entering as like a joke, or like, are you taking this seriously? Because they were all really smart, lovely people who I really liked. And I just couldn't understand that this was like a way that they measured value, and I was really fascinated by it. So that's where the idea for the beauty pageant came from. But before that, I had always really been disappointed when I've seen fat characters represented in books. And that's something really important to know about Dumplin, is that the main character is fat. And I was always disappointed to see fat characters because they were always the butt of the joke, or like the funny fat best friend, or even worse, sometimes it was a thin actor wearing a fat suit. So I always dreaded seeing fat characters in books and movies and media in general. And I wanted to give my teenage self a chance to see a fat character in a really authentic and validating way.
I'm always curious, like, on Belletrist we cover so much adult fiction. What sort of, for an author, categorizes a book as YA, and did you go into it being like, I want to write YA, young adult fiction?
Well, I was a youth services librarian, which meant that I mostly dealt with teens and middle school students. So, like, when I sat down and thought about writing a book, the most obvious choice for me was to write a book for the teens and for the middle schoolers that I worked with. And I was reading and consuming a lot of those books at that time too. So I think that you'll ask this question to absolutely any young adult author, and they're going to give you a different answer. But for me, a young adult book is very much grounded in the character's age, and it's also about like the immediacy of like how quickly everything is happening and the pacing. At least for me, it is.
And I guess I noticed that reading your book, where there's a lot of action in every chapter, or like it's being moved forward in every chapter.
And I think that at the same time, like, YA is like incredibly diverse, and like, so there's going to be tons of YA that's quieter YA and things like that, things that almost feel more like adult books. But I think what it comes down to is like the patriarchy has forced us to like believe that like adult work is literary, and that's the only place where we can have quieter books or things like that. So the pacing thing is true, but it's not exclusively true.
And I mean, now that I've been reading some more YA, I've been reading some like literary fiction, and I'm like,
Yes.
Like,
I shouldn't say that, but it's like
fast-paced and exciting or romantic books, like those can be just as rewarding and just as important as a literary book. Totally. And you can gain just as much from those things. So
I also feel like with YA, like the audience, you know, they're, you know, teenagers or like us adults, but it kind of forces you to get right to the meat of things.
Right.
And I think that's what teens love when they're reading these type of books, but they don't want to be talked down to, you know what I mean? So you still have to bring it when you write these books, obviously.
More so.
Exactly. You have to get a lot in a little bit in some ways. So our theme for this series is body positivity. And so what I love about Willow Dean is that she's such a complex character. She doesn't always get it right with body shaming. And I think even with her confidence, I think that it's really important to show that, like, in our insecurities, whatever size you are, it kind of brings out the worst in you. And I think you could have easily made her the victim throughout the whole story, but you didn't. So why did you do that?
Well, I didn't want this to be just a textbook on body positivity or anything like that. So it was really important for me to show that she's flawed and she believes the lies about fat people that we've all been told and taught for our entire lives. So there are even moments in the book where she sees another fat character and thinks, like, oh God, at least I'm not that kind of fat. Because for so many of us, like, even when we do see a fat or a curvy woman, we think that there's, like, a right type of fat. Like, you're the right type of fat if your body looks like a Kardashian, but you're not the right type of fat if your body looks like an apple, which my body does. So, yeah, I don't know. Did I answer that question? I'm sorry.
No, you did. I mean, I think it's just like showing the complexities of being fat. Yeah. Is that what what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I wanted to show the complexities of being fat, but also, like, I wish that I had been introduced to these concepts at a much younger age. And obviously, a lot of these concepts were still being developed as I was getting older. I mean, the fat positivity movement, which then birthed the body positivity movement, started in the 60s and the 70s, and it's you know, just as old. It's much older than I am. But it wasn't popularized, definitely not, until, like, the last, like, 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
So for me, I discovered a lot of these concepts in my early 20s, and actually after getting married and going through the process of having a wedding and not knowing how you feel about your body is one of the worst things in the world, because it's one of the most body shaming industries that I think we have, is the wedding industry. And so soon after getting married is when I discovered body positivity, and I was like, oh my God, my entire wedding process could have been an absolute joy if I'd just known these concepts. Like, I could have actually celebrated this moment in my life and not been, like, stressing and dreading not only the wedding, but, like, oh my God, packing swimsuits for my honeymoon and all these different things. And so once I like discovered these concepts and realized that, like, fat can be a neutral word, it doesn't have to be a bad word, and I can love my body just as my body is, that for me was a moment when I was, like, shocked and upset that I didn't have access to these theories and ideas sooner in my life. And so I never thought that I would get to write a young adult book about these things, but I'm honored and deeply thankful that I had the opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think something, I don't know if it's subtle or not, to me it seems subtle, but that Willow sort of comes to her insecurity about her body when she is, like, being touched for the first time.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
And to me, like that beforehand she had been sort of, I don't know, not like aloof to it, but, like, it wasn't something she was thinking about as much.
Right.
And, like, and I don't know if this is a weird comparison, but, like, as a gay person, it was very similar. Like, when I was a girl, I wasn't like, oh, this is weird to wear baggy jeans. Like, it was just like, I was like, this is me. Like, this is, I'm a tomboy.
Yeah.
But as I got into high school, I was like, oh, like, I'm supposed to wear something else.
Yeah.
Like, I'm supposed to wear a dress now because my friends want to attract guys, and I am not only not wanting to do that, but I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was such an interesting point that you made about, like, a lot of the time, like, adolescence, like, forces us into this place of, like, submissiveness or, you know, having to fit in that we don't get in childhood necessarily because, you know, if we have parents that allow us to accept ourselves as kids, which is hard in terms of, like, body image and sexuality and gender still today, I think, like, there's this amazing period before you're a teenager where you're kind of yourself or you're kind of not worried about who you're going to be.
Right.
Until somebody kind of puts a label on you.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's, I thought that was so interesting, and just, like, how she reacted to somebody else being attracted to her.
Right.
Where she was like, oh, I actually don't like this part of myself that I thought wasn't a big deal before.
I think it's like a confrontation with yourself in a way. And I remember, like, as a teenager and as a young adult, like, those first moments of intimacy with other people were so jarring for me because those people obviously liked me. Like, that's the reason why we were in the situation that we were in. And surely they didn't look at me and think that there was, like, a skinny person hiding under my clothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just impossible. There's no thinner woman within me.
You were just like, surprise!
Yeah, right. Like, I'm here. And so I think that, like, it's this absolutely ridiculous thing that when we talk about, like, oh my gosh, of course there's no thinner person hiding under my clothing. But I think that for so many of us, like, that first moment of someone touching us, or even, like, the first moments of, like, taking off our clothing in front of someone, like, it's like you're faced with, like, the honest, raw truth of what your body is. And not only, like, the person you're doing it with is probably, like, psyched for it. Right. But you have to, you know, you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and know that, like, this is the truth of your body. Yeah.
Totally. So let's talk about the term fat. There is a quote in the book that says, "That's me, I'm fat. It's not a cuss word. It's not an insult, at least not when I say it. So I always figure, why not get it out of the way?" That to me was such a freeing statement. Like, just taking a word that's derogatory, you know what I mean, and taking ownership over it. So when you went in writing this book, like you were saying about your wedding and having like a positive, a body positive experience, did you go in saying, I kind of want to use this as a theme throughout the story, or did this kind of come about while you were writing it? Yeah,
for me, that statement, I want to say it was in one of the earliest drafts of the book. It felt like really a thesis statement for the whole book.
Yeah.
So it was definitely present, and I kind of like had to like form the molding clay around it, because I didn't quite get it right for quite a long time. I couldn't quite figure out what exactly I was trying to say, but that sentiment was there for a very long time. The fat community is like definitely not the first and won't be the last community to ever take back derogatory terms that have been used and like weaponized against them.
Exactly.
But there's something really powerful and freeing in taking the word fat that we always associate with things like ugly and lazy and all these other negative things, and taking the word fat and just making it a neutral term.
Exactly.
Like why can't I say that I'm fat in the same way I say that you have brown hair, or that you have curly hair, or like we talk about complexion or height or all these different things. Like, it can just be neutral.
I mean, I think the women's movement is also another perfect example of that. I mean, it's such a great thing, and even for me, like, you know, just hearing you say it like in normal conversation, like it normalizes it, which is, I think, is the most important point. You know?
Yeah, I think it's really important to remember that there are certain communities that take back words, and like those words aren't meant for everyone outside of the community, like the way that gay people have, or the way that black people have taken back certain words. But I think it's important to acknowledge it and let it be validated. But I think for a lot of fat people, we like to hear other people say fat and to say it in a neutral way, because it's really validating for us.
So, and I think even talking about that, just in terms of like how society is taking standards of beauty, like in the media, I think a perfect example of that is like the Miss America pageant taking out the swimsuit aspect of the competition. It's just so great to see how things are evolving in the media, and how different brands are like using body positivity to like, you know, project a positive message and a real message, like using real women to kind of promote these things. So I think this is also very important because it ties into the movie. So we are, you know, Dumplin as a movie on Netflix. It's amazing. We cannot wait for everybody to see it. So exciting. It's amazing. So Jennifer Aniston, this all started because she loves this book. How the heck did you, like, how the heck did this happen? Like, did she call you? Like, what was the process for that?
Well, I won't go through, like, I feel like this movie process has changed hands so many times. Like, the behind the scenes of, like, Hollywood is, like, I don't want to say it's not pretty, but it's just so normal and mundane, and also exactly as you would expect. Like, projects are like hot potatoes sometimes. But from the very beginning, we had a screenwriter working on the project, and her name is Kristen Hahn. And we connected immediately, and we got along really well, and I feel like she's like my like sister from another mister. Like we really bonded. And something I didn't know about Kristen until she called to tell me that Jennifer was going to be involved with the project was that Jennifer is her best friend. And I think that something that's really cool and means so much to me about this book is watching the way that people have bonded together over this project and over this book, and seeing like the fact that it resonated with someone like Jen, who is like an icon, and someone who is like widely lauded as like, you know, a beauty icon, and like the perfect hair, the perfect body, and seeing that this even resonated with her, and she could see that like the standards that we promote within our society are ridiculous, and it's dated, and it's time to move past that. That was really exciting and heartening, and also I was just freaking out because, oh my God, Rachel from Friends.
Of course.
So yeah, I there were lots of like, oh my gosh, this feels just a little bit more real moments. And that was one of them, because it was finally like, I hope my father-in-law is not watching this, and if he is, hi Bob. But it was one of those moments moments where I could even tell my father-in-law this news and it meant something to him because her name just carries a lot of weight. And so even people who don't understand publishing or like the New York Times list or like all these different things, they would hear Jennifer Aniston and be like, oh, so you're real now. Did you quit your job? like, are you a real author now? Yeah. I was like, well, kind of, sort of.
I've been doing this for a while, but no big deal. Yeah. So how involved were you in the movie making process?
I would say I was as involved as I wanted to be. Okay. I wanted the movie to exist on its own and to be able to become its own thing. I know that books and movies are related, but also completely different processes. I mean, the book is like over 300 pages and you have to be able to tell that in an hour and a half. And so I knew that there were going to be a lot of changes, and I was really, I feel like, flexible with that and really understanding of that and almost kind of excited because there were ways to strategize and problem solve for me, a project that has been closed for quite a while. So I did get to work really closely with Kristen on the script, and even as soon as they were on set, it was like calling and talking to them almost every day, like with little changes, and asking for different input on things. And then, of course, I got to spend a lot of time on set, and just kind of like getting to sit back and enjoy that was just absolutely incredible.
I can only imagine. Like, so even with the cast, like, were there certain people that when they were cast, you were like, oh my God, this is exactly who I envisioned to play this character?
Well, I mean, seeing Danielle get cast as Willa Dean was like the biggest sigh of relief, because I already, like, behind the scenes, I had like learned to love and trust the producers and everyone who was working on this project, but there was still that like pearl clutching moment of like, what if they tried to cast an actress who's not that? And so that for me was like a huge sigh of relief and absolutely thrilling. Another person who is absolutely perfect for her role is Maddie, who plays the role of Millie. And also, you know, Millie has her own book and put in, and so that was another one that's absolutely perfect, and she's hilarious in the movie. Like, she's absolutely perfect. So
were there like any special like things that happened on set that you could talk about?
Well, so a lot of my time on set was spent actually at the scenes where they were filming at the drag bar.
Okay. Oh, that's so much fun.
Was that a real? Did they find like great real drag queens?
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yes.
Dolly drag queens?
Like real, there was one like very real Dolly drag queen. His name is Jason, in real life, but he is like specializes in impersonations and does like Liza, Barbara Streisand, but specifically Dolly. He's very well known for Dolly. And then another one they had was Ginger Minge, who was on Drag Race a few seasons ago and is known as the Glamour Toad, which really resonates with me. And we got along so well, and I'm still in contact with both of them. But one of my favorite things was we were all on set, and we'd heard that Dolly might be coming the last weekend.
Oh my gosh.
To like visit the set, and so like all of us were like, where is she? And so she didn't end up getting to come, but we thought that she had still surprised us, and I mean we thought she might still surprise us. And then there's this moment where we're all sitting in the drag bar, and Jennifer Aniston is sitting like right in front of me, like where I was an extra in part of one of the scenes, and she's sitting right in front of me. And Jason, who specializes in like Dolly impersonations, walks in, and Jennifer from afar was like, "Is that Dolly? Is Dolly here and no one told me? Why is no one making a big deal about that? That's Dolly." And so there was this great moment where we were like, Jennifer, that is a man dressed as Dolly. So that was great. And yeah, I have a few more stories.
She's such an important part of the story.
Right.
What was it like when you found out that she was actually going to be attached to the movie?
I thought that it was a joke. I didn't think it could actually be real, and I was actually driving at the time when they called and told me. Oh my God. And they knew I was driving, and no one was like, "Julie, pull over into a safe location because you're about to die."
Announcement for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I like veered off the highway and pulled over, and I was just I don't get super emotional with news immediately because it takes me a little while to process, but that was one thing that I was just like, there should have been cameras around filming me, because I was like, had to like do a lap around my car, like put my head between my knees. Like it was very intense and exciting. But actually having her do the soundtrack and getting to see her process and getting to meet her and getting to visit the studio that she worked in. She worked on the soundtrack with Linda Perry. Linda Perry produced the whole thing. Okay. When Dolly agreed to be part of the project, she had said that she was going to write, I think 1 or 2 songs for us and then let us have access to her catalog. And I guess when she wrote 1 song, it turned into 8 or something like that. And so it was this huge surprise when we got to visit the studio, and Sony Music was like, here's a whole album of Dolly songs. And
wow.
I getting to stand in the studio with Dolly Parton while she's holding her hand and playing a song that she wrote that was inspired by a book that you wrote is
there's nothing.
I don't even know how to possibly explain that moment to anyone ever. It's just an iconic moment in my life that I'll always remember.
That's amazing.
Very, very full circle.
Yeah. So this is totally off topic, but you have impeccable style. I love your outfit right here. What are some of the brands that you swear by, or some of the clothing stores that you love? Or
okay, I'm gonna give a big shout out to Universal Standard. They're a brand that actually just opened a store here in Soho, and they've been online for a very long time. And they started out as a plus size brand that went up to size 26 or something like that, 14 to 26. And then they expanded to size 32, and now they started carrying down to a size 10. And then just recently they opened up all their sizes from 00 to a size 40. Wow. And this is the first mainstream brand I've ever heard of doing this. They have really cool, fantastic basics and very simple clothing that I really love, and is actually really hard to find in the plus size industry, because I say this as someone who's currently wearing flowers. The plus size industry just wants to wallpaper everyone in flowers, which I'm mostly down because I love looking like my grandmother's quilt, but not always. And so Universal Standard is really great for that, and it's really incredible what they're doing, because people that size just cannot find clothing, let alone clothing that could be in any way construed as stylish. It's just incredible. So Universal Standard is a favorite of mine. I'm super basic and I love ModCloth.
That is not basic at all. I love ModCloth too, so.
Yeah. I worked for, there's a plus size brand company called Torrid that I actually worked for when I turned 16. And this is so silly and kind of ridiculous, but it was actually a really big milestone moment for me, because it was the first time I ever acknowledged that I was fat, even though I didn't actually say I was fat, but I was like, guys, friends, I'm working at the Fat Lady store. But it's the place where I buy clothes.
I mean, I remember that store, and I feel like it was one of the first stores that really advertised great models wearing clothes that were actually they were cute. Yeah.
So, and then Madewell has a new plus size line. I hope that they perfect it a little bit more and extend their sizes on it. It's really cool.
I had a question, just to go back for a second, just about specifics in the book. Is Lucy, where did Lucy come from for you, and what was her, I don't know, was she, I don't want to ask if she was based on a real person, but
no, that's okay. You can ask that question.
Yeah, because I thought it was a very powerful character who really was who wasn't a character, who was dead, so we sort of just had her legacy, but she was really a huge driving factor for a lot of what happens in the book. So I was curious about that.
So Lucy is actually based off of my Aunt Flo. I have a real live Aunt Flo.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Not just in any ways. I'll leave it at that. And my Aunt Flo lived a long, wonderful life. And she lived to I think her 70s, but I think she would have lived a lot longer had she not faced bias in the medical community, because the reason why she died was for very simple things that could have been resolved earlier on in her life that just went unchecked, because every time she went to a doctor, even if it was for a flu, she was sick because she was fat, and she never, so she always had medical phobia, and didn't see doctors as much as she ought to. And so that's very real, and almost every fat person I know deals with this. But she was the first fat woman in my life who was like married and happy, and not saying that like marriage is a measure, or like being in a relationship is a measure of happiness, but she was okay with who she was as far as I knew, as far as I could tell. And she had like 20 cats like in and out of her house all the time, and her husband was like this like beanpole of a man named Joe, and they were just really happy and in love. And I was always the fat girl in our family, and it meant so much for me to see her just living her life normally. It's not like she ever sat me down and was like, fat girls are going to take over the world, we're awesome. But just having the opportunity to see her and to see her like live well and to like embrace her life and to be happy and to see how much Joe loved her. I'm going to start crying.
Aww, that's amazing.
It meant so much to me. And it really, I didn't realize how much it resonated with me until I sat down to write this book.
And I think it's important, like, in terms of what you're saying, to be sort of unapologetic, just as far as being like, and this was, I think you mentioned this earlier, like, there was not much victimhood, like, on the part of Willow Dean, or she, like, I did not read this book, and when you can read a lot of books where there's quote-unquote hardship for any particular reason, I thought, and I think this was your point, is like, I wasn't like, oh, like, I didn't really, I was just reading another character, which I thought was very important, especially reading a book about a character that I don't read about a lot, you know, I mean, that's facts, but or the interiority of a character that I don't read about a lot. So, I don't know, I really appreciated that element of Willow Dean, and also just like, I don't know, this thing of like, the person who really illuminated or seemed most fixated on it was her mom. Yeah. And, I mean, at least like externally. And I do think there's this thing of like, sometimes the people that aren't dealing are the people who seem most fixated, right? I mean, it's the same thing with a lot of other, you know, it's like people who, you know, don't want gay people to be able to be married, or people who want to keep, you know, places segregated. It's like, why do you give a shit? Like, why do you care so much? You know,
like, I'm not trying to marry you.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
And like the whole thing of just, you know, being like, oh, look at this, you know, look at this diet show, look at this girl. It's like, for, you know, the only way this person can be represented is if we're like making them better or getting them healthier.
Yeah. Right.
And I just thought that was a really accurate, again, like not heavy-handed at all. Just like, I can imagine that for a mother who's thinner, to project like, oh my God, and who was, you know, in the book, she was heavier when she was young and then lost her weight. That was like her narrative. Yeah. Where she's like, no, you know, like you can get over that. Like it's something to get over. Yeah. I just thought Willow's sort of insistent that she's like, this is your shit. You know, was really important and cool.
Yeah, I never wanted Willow Dean to feel like a victim. I always wanted I didn't want you to like feel bad for her. I wanted you to identify with her. Exactly. I don't want to say that fat is a replaceable thing in this book, because it's not, but I want for you to be able to take like fat just the way you did with gay, and be able to exchange that word, and for this book to resonate with you in the same way, and for it to mean just as much, and just for you to be able to replace it with whatever thing you feel like others you. And as far as like Willow Dean's mom, I think that every person has experienced this with a parent with their body in some kind of 100%.
way. 100%.
And I think that there's this lie that we are telling parents, and that if your child doesn't look a certain way, and if they don't meet these certain criteria that we have decided to impress upon in our public schools, then you're a bad parent and you're doing it wrong. Yeah. And so for them, not only are our bodies a failure to them or to us, but it's a failure to them as well. Yeah. And on top of that, for Willow Dean's mom, like, you see her working out, you see her like slaving away to fit into this dress that she wants to wear at the end of the book, and we don't like, our parents and the adults in our life growing up don't realize how much the way they talk about and the way they treat their bodies shapes and cultivates how we regard our bodies as adults. I'll never forget the first time I heard my mom call herself fat. For me, it's like a bookmarked page in the book of Julie's life. Yeah.
I do think parents and kids don't talk about food.
Right.
Like, at a young age, where a parent is never going to say to a kid, like, I'm really uncomfortable with how you... Like, you'll never have, like, a rational conversation about it. It'll be, like, restricting your kid. Yeah. Or, like, forcing your young daughter to like go on runs or stuff like that, where it's, and dads with like masculinity, where it's like, son, you should really work out, or like things like that. Yeah. Instead of being like, you know what, like as a parent, I feel like you're a reflection of me and like I'm a failure. Like those vulnerable conversations, we just don't have them. We're not like taught to have them. And so, yeah, it's like all of the, it's like what happens in the in-between of like our parents worrying if we're a reflection of them, and then us worrying if like, you know, I don't know, whatever.
Well, and I mean, if you want to talk about food, like we are constantly like talking about food as though it has some kind of moral value. Like a cupcake is bad and a salad is good.
Yeah.
And
right.
That's like it's so ingrained into us that we think like, oh, I'm having a cheat day. Like, no, you're just eating a freaking cupcake. It's okay. Yes. You're not cheating on anyone. Like you're not cheating on your body. I don't think you have to love your body in order to take care of it and in order to be mindful, but I do think that loving your body makes taking care of your body a lot easier. Like going to the gym and eating healthy can be miserable. It's 10 times more miserable when you're doing it because you hate your body.
Yeah.
So on Belletrist, we do something called Belletrist Brief, where every week a different author or influencer or person sort of we ask them the same 5 questions or something. What's your favorite indie bookstore in the country?
That's like picking my favorite shop. But I'll say Blue Willow Bookshop in Houston.
Very cool.
Good. They're good.
Well, I think we gotta know the answers, but songs that inspire you while you write, like right now.
Right. I feel as though I'm obligated to always say Jolene and the Dolly Parton song. Dolly Parton always inspires me. But my last book was actually written to Aretha Franklin and the Jackson 5. Yeah.
Podcast rec. Do you listen to podcasts?
I do listen to podcasts. On theme with our current discussion, I'll say She's All Fat. It's the body positivity podcast with chill vibes only. That's their tagline. My good friends Sophie and April are the hosts, and it's I can't believe how many thin people listen to this podcast and how much it resonates with them. This is supposed to be rapid fire. I'm sorry.
No, this is perfect.
But it's a really wonderful podcast, and I think it's really enlightening, especially if you're a thin person and you're like, I have fat friends. I want to be a good friend to them. And it's also really validating as a fat person. They talk about fantastic stuff.
Cool. She's All Fat.
She's All Fat.
Can you list 3 favorite things that like beauty things?
Must-haves. Okay. I'm gonna say I love Winky Lux lipstick. Don't hate me, Winky Lux. It's not even because their consistency or anything is that good. It's just that they come in little. The packaging looks like little pills, and it's just the cutest little lipstick.
Oh,
so
like
Winky Lux lipstick. I love, for a scent, this is so basic, but Glossier You.
No, it's not.
It smells so. It's not too strong. It's just perfect. And then my third item is my favorite Walgreens item is Not Your Mother's dry shampoo. It's my
Is
jam.
that Walgreens brand?
No, it's not. But it's like my
thing.
It's my Walgreens find. Yeah.
Okay, so we are so excited because we are running a giveaway. Julie's gonna sign a copy of Dumplin, so make sure to comment below. Tell us what you loved about Dumplin. Tell us what you loved about the movie. Tell us everything. Tell us what you loved about the conversation. And thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
It was so nice talking to
you.
It was so much fun.
It was fun.
I felt like it was
like so much fun.
Is that Where the Wild Things? Yeah.
It's Where the Wild Things Are, and it's my cat mermaid.
Oh my god!
Is that
right? My mermaid or a catfish and Harry Potter.
Yes,
nice. Oh, I like that.
I know, that's so cute, right?
And I forgot to add one of my favorite stores. It's called Prem, and it was started by 2 plus-size bloggers. And
Prem?
Premme.
Oh, Prem. Okay,
Did I say that right? Yeah, and it's just like really, really cool stuff. I love it. It's so good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.